Number 10. Royal Rife's Beam Ray Machine. In the 1930s, scientist Royal Rife claimed he built a machine that could kill cancer cells with frequencies, like a singer shattering a wine glass with a high note, but instead of a glass, it's a tumor. Rife built a microscope so powerful it could see living viruses, basically witchcraft at the time. He noticed every microorganism vibrated at its own frequency, and theorized he could hit it with that exact frequency to shake it apart. In 1934, Rife claimed that in a trial with terminal cancer patients, 14 out of 16 were cured within 70 days. Those numbers should have caused a scientific frenzy. Instead, there was silence, then suspicious events. His lab was broken into, his research notes went missing. The American Medical Association, led by Morris Fishbein, came after Rife hard. Fishbein had previously tried to buy into Rife's technology, but Rife refused. Shortly after, the attacks began. By the 1940s, Rife was finished, his equipment was confiscated, and his partners sued into silence. Today, scientists use focused ultrasound to destroy tumors, which is what Rife was describing 90 years ago. Was he a visionary crushed for profit, or a fraud who pointed in the right direction? We'll never know for sure. Number 9. The Phoebus Cartel Light Bulb. A light bulb hung in a Livermore, California fire station in 1901 is still on today. It's called the Centennial Bulb. If a bulb from 1901 still works, why does yours die every year? In 1924, the world's biggest light bulb companies, General Electric, Philips, Osram, held a secret meeting. They called themselves the Phoebus Cartel, which sounds like a villain organization from a Bond movie, because it basically was. At the time, bulbs were lasting 2,500 hours or more. The cartel saw this as a problem. If a bulb never dies, you never buy another one. So they made a cold-blooded decision: engineer their bulbs to fail at exactly 1,000 hours. Not because the technology was limited, but because durability was bad for sales. They even fined member companies whose bulbs lasted too long. They hired engineers to figure out how to make their own products worse, and it worked. Bulb life plummeted and sales soared. The cartel dissolved in the 1930s, but the damage was done. The idea of building products to fail now had a name: planned obsolescence, and it spread everywhere. The Centennial Bulb is still going. It has outlived every person who attended that 1924 meeting. Number 8. Alfred Beech's pneumatic subway. In 1870, Alfred Ely Beech built a secret, working subway under New York City. He dug it in secret because he knew powerful people would try to stop him. He told the city he was building a small mail tube. He was not building a small mail tube. He built a 300-foot tunnel under Broadway, powered by air pressure. A giant fan pushed the train car forward, then reversed to suck it back, like a giant blowgun for people. When it opened, the waiting room had a fountain and a grand piano, and over 400,000 people rode it in the first year. Everyone loved it, except one man, Boss Tweed, the most corrupt politician in American history. Tweed had invested heavily in elevated trains, and an underground subway would make his investments worthless, so he used his political machine to block every permit Beech applied for. Years later, Tweed was arrested, and Beech got his permit, but it was too late. Funding had dried up, the tunnel was sealed and forgotten. In 1912, workers digging a new subway line broke through a wall and found it. The train car was still there, the fountain was still there, the goldfish were not. Number 7. The Unbreakable Glass Bowl. Picture a Roman inventor who created a drinking bowl made of glass that doesn't break. You drop it, it just dents. You hammer the dent out, good as new. He's holding the world's first unbreakable cup, and his first thought is, I should show this to the emperor. In hindsight, a terrible decision. The inventor walks into Emperor Tiberius's palace and drops the bowl on the marble floor. It bounces, no shards, just a dent. He pulls out a hammer, taps it back into shape, and hands it to the emperor. But Tiberius wasn't thinking about the bowl. He was doing math. If glass can't break, expensive metal cups, gold, silver, become worthless, and Tiberius owned a lot of gold and silver. He asked the inventor one question: does anyone else know how to make this? The inventor said no, just him. Tiberius had him executed on the spot, burying the secret with him. The only accounts come from Pliny the Elder and Petronius, who wrote about it as a real event. We wouldn't figure out tempered glass for another 2,000 years. Number 6. Stan Meyer's water-powered car. Imagine pulling up to a garden hose instead of a gas pump, filling your tank with tap water. That's what Ohio engineer Stan Meyer claimed he built in the 1980s. He said he'd found a way to split water into hydrogen and oxygen using less energy than you get back from burning the hydrogen. The only exhaust from his dune buggy was water vapor. Your car drinks liquid gold and breathes poison. His car drank water and breathed air. Oil companies made huge offers, but Meyer refused them all. He wanted to license the technology cheaply to the public. Then, in 1998, Meyer was at dinner. He took a sip of cranberry juice, clutched his throat, ran outside, and collapsed. His brother claims his last words were, "They poisoned me." The official cause of death was a brain aneurysm. Scientists debate if his tech defied physics, but the timing, the buyout offers, and his dying words are suspicious. Whether the car worked or not, someone clearly thought it was worth making sure we never found out. Number 5. Thorium nuclear reactors. There's a fuel that could power the planet cleanly, cheaply, and with almost no nuclear waste. It's called thorium, and you've probably never heard of it. That's not an accident. In the 1960s, scientist Alvin Weinberg built a working thorium reactor at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. It ran for years. No meltdowns, no drama. The thing just worked. Its waste stays dangerous for a few hundred years, not tens of thousands like uranium waste. Thorium reactors also cannot melt down. The physics of the reaction cause it to self-cool if something goes wrong. Chernobyl couldn't have happened. But in the 1970s, the US government chose uranium, not because it was safer, but because uranium reactors produce plutonium, the key ingredient for nuclear weapons. Thorium reactors don't, which made them useless to the military. Alvin Weinberg kept pushing for thorium and was fired in 1973. The program was shut down. Decades of research were abandoned because the technology wasn't useful for war, and the entire nuclear industry was already built on uranium. Today, China and India are developing thorium reactors, while the original American blueprints collect dust. Number 4. Ogle's vapor fuel system. It's the 1970s, and gas prices are soaring. Tom Ogle was a mechanic from Texas, not a scientist, not an engineer, just a guy who liked taking things apart, and he claimed he figured out how to get 100 miles per gallon, not in some tiny car, but in a heavy 1970 Ford Galaxy that normally got 13 mpg. He did it by burning gasoline vapors instead of liquid fuel. Feeding the engine fumes instead of liquid meant the fuel burned more completely, with less waste. He called it the Oglemobile. Journalists drove it, and engineers inspected it. Nobody could find a trick. Ogle turned down millions from oil companies, saying he wanted the technology available to everyone. Then, he told friends he was being followed and had received threats. In 1981, at age 24, Tom Ogle died. The official cause was an overdose of alcohol and painkillers, but the timing has always been suspicious. His patents went quiet, the Oglemobile disappeared, and gas mileage on American cars stayed right where it was. Number 3. The Tucker 48. In 1948, driving a car meant you, a metal box, and a prayer. No seatbelts, no padded dashboard, no safety glass. Then Preston Tucker built the Tucker 48. It had a windshield designed to pop out on impact, a padded dashboard, and a rear engine that wouldn't be shoved into your lap in a crash. It even had a center headlight that turned with the steering wheel. This car made Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler look like they were selling death traps. Suddenly, Tucker's company was hit with a federal investigation for fraud and a storm of negative press. Tucker was dragged into court. He was acquitted on all charges, but it didn't matter. By then, his company was dead. The factory was seized, investors had fled, and his reputation was ruined. Only 51 Tucker 48s were ever built. The car that was too good to exist became a museum piece worth millions, ensuring it would never be a threat again. Number 2. The Cromrie Converter. In the 1960s, engineer Raymond Cromrie built something that made powerful people uncomfortable, the Cromrie Converter. It used a clever arrangement of magnets and coils. Spin the magnets, get electricity. Except Cromrie claimed his device produced more energy than it took to spin it, like a car that makes more gas the further you drive. And he wasn't just some guy in a garage. He had patents, including US Patent 3.374.376. He showed the device and the numbers to energy companies. Every single one of them said no, not, we need more testing, not, come back in 6 months, just no. The Cromrie Converter never went into production. The patents expired. Raymond Cromrie faded away, and the energy companies kept selling the same electricity they always had. Number 1. General Motors EV1. In the mid-1990s, the future quietly rolled onto California roads. It was the General Motors EV1. Sleek, silent, and you plugged it into your wall. For the lucky few who leased one, it was magic. Faster and more responsive than most gas cars. It had no oil changes, no tune-ups, no gas stations. Drivers loved them, obsessively. But a world without gas stations is a nightmare for big oil, and a world without engine repairs is a nightmare for the auto industry's parts and service business model, where they make their real money. The EV1 needed none of it. In a move that still sparks outrage, GM systematically recalled every EV1. They refused to sell the cars to their devoted drivers, who offered to buy them for a premium. The cars were rounded up, shipped to an Arizona desert, and unceremoniously crushed into metal cubes. The future was literally scrapped. GM claimed it was an unprofitable business decision, but for the people who drove them, it felt like an execution.